On 102.4 FM across Rotherham, online, on your mobile, and on your smart speaker. This is Red Road FM. Red Road FM.
This is Red Road FM on 102.4 across Rotherham. We're online at redroadfm.com on your mobile and on your smart speaker. I hope your day is going well so far. It's Aaron with you on the show today. And right now, I'm delighted to say we are joined by Greta Isaac on the show, who we are absolutely loving here. We're loving her brand new EP and her new song as well. Greta, thank you so much for joining me on the show today.
Hello there. Thank you so much for having me.
No, we're delighted to get you on. It's a pleasure. I'm going to ask the generic question, which I think is in every single interview at the moment. How has the last 12 months been for you? Because I guess it's been, like it has been for everybody, pretty crazy, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, of course. Completely life-changing, globally and personally. I think I've been really fortunate in that I've had an okay experience of it. I had COVID, but that was probably the worst of it in terms of things that could have happened. So I really tried to take advantage of the time really to kind of look inward and cook and go on long walks and journal and just do really simple things and just to take the pressure off life for a bit while I could. And it was definitely like a life-changing couple months for me as well. And I'm sure for loads of other people, really put things into perspectives and, not being able to see my family as much. And, but yeah, it was okay. From a work front, it was actually good because there was zero pressure to do anything. So I was, because the music industry basically shut down for the first couple months. No one was releasing music, and I think I work well when there's no pressure. So I just sort of took that time to like slowly chip away at the songs that you're all hearing now, and yeah, just try and make the most of it.
So these songs that have been on your EP, have they been ready to go for a while? And have you kind of been delaying things, or have you just kind of thought, do you know what, this is the right time? Because I think over the last couple of months or so, we're hearing a lot of new music from a lot of new artists. And is it just now feel like the right time?
Yeah, I think I was delaying putting it out until it was absolutely perfect, and I think a lot of artists would maybe doing the same because the whole industry was at a halt and we can't tour yet, and well, we can now, but we couldn't at the time, and do gigs and stuff to help promote. And I think there's something quite anticlimactic about releasing a body of work and then just not being able to celebrate it. I think that's like a big thing, and sing it to people. But yeah, I think yeah, I just it wasn't ready until it was ready, and I think that there's a few factors, videos and artwork, and the right time to put music out logistically and stuff like that. But yeah, I think I've really took my time with it. My label were like, come on, let's put it out, and I was like, no, not yet. Yeah.
I think I totally get what you mean. It's got to feel right for yourself, I guess. And if it doesn't feel right, then I totally understand your decision of saying no. We're gonna delay this, and we're gonna keep working on it until it feels right for me. I totally understand that decision. We've been playing your song "How to Be a Woman" on the radio here. Tell us about that, because that we loving that. I think that's a great track.
Thank you. Yeah, I think sort of a tone that runs through all of my songs is like anger and cynicism, but also a little bit of humor and tongue-in-cheek lyrics and stuff. But I definitely wanted to write a song and it sort of embody thoughts and feelings that I ruminate on constantly. And it was weird that I hadn't really written a song solely on being a woman and what that looked like now, and just being myself. I think I was going through a time where I was really trying to figure out or break free from these constructs that not only I put on myself, but people and structures that made me feel like I needed to speak or look or act a certain way, and trying to find freedom and empowerment on the other end of that, coming out the other end. But also how kind of confusing it is, like, oh, okay, now that I don't have these lists of rules and regulations about how I should be, then it's empowering and freeing, but also quite kind of confusing, and I felt a bit lost. But I think the main point of the song is I don't really know what I am or who I am, outside of the structures that sort of built me. But I know that I would never want to be like the structures or the people that make anyone unhappy. So that's what that song is about.
Where do you get your inspiration from when you're writing music? Because I guess, like a lot of artists, you take inspiration from anywhere and anything, and just you. I said to an artist the other day, and he was saying how he just takes inspiration from whether he's just out shopping or whatever he's doing in his day. He thinks, right, there could be a song in there somewhere. Are you the same?
Yeah, definitely. I think the main thing that I take huge inspiration from is looking at parts of myself and looking at sort of versions of myself that don't really get to see the light of day, and they just sort of come out when quite heavy things happen in my life, or when things kind of force you to like open your eyes and look at the problem. I think different versions of me sort of come out when those things happen, and I think putting them into song form and almost magnifying those parts of my character and personifying them really helped me understand them a lot better, I would say. And they're almost like roommates. I'm like trying to figure out and trying to understand. So putting them into song form allows me to like create a character profile for them and sort of dissect them a little bit more. And it allows me to sort of try on that outfit and say things I would never want to say, or or kind of express an emotion that I rarely let come to the surface. So I think for me it's very inward, and I look at relationships with other people and how different relationships sort of ignite different parts of myself. It is very, very in my own head, I think, the things that I write about.
What is next for you then? So you've released your EP now. Are you looking to maybe get out and do a few shows when it's possible? Hopefully things over the summer are going to open up a little bit. Have you got maybe festival dates booked in? What's the summer looking like for you?
So I've got Isle of Wight Festival, which I'm excited about. Just playing a little stage there, that'll be lovely. And then we've got a gig on the 25th of October in London Bridge in O'Meara. And tickets are on sale now for that one. Yeah, really excited.
And are you looking maybe to, after that, get back in the studio and look at writing some more things, maybe an album possibly on the horizon as well?
So we've already started writing the next EP. We're pretty much nearly done with that. There's like one or two songs that need writing and finishing, but that's shaping up really nicely. I'll probably do another EP before sort of dipping my toe into album territory, just because I feel like an album is so, to me in my head, it's such a the first introduction to an artist and their mind and their creative mind, and I feel like I still need to do another EP and figure out my sort of sonic journey and my visual journey before I commit to something that big. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm up for it at any point, really.
I guess it comes back to what we were saying before, doesn't it? You've got to feel comfortable with what you're releasing. You've got to make sure that it feels perfect and it feels right. So I totally understand what you're saying about dipping your toe in the water with another EP before committing to something that big. I totally understand it. How do you view the changing world of music now? Because obviously we looked 10 years ago, you mentioned streaming sites and nobody would know what you're talking about. It was all about physical records and physical albums. Now we've got the streaming sites. TikTok, of course, is taking over the world in terms of music as well, and really bringing artists onto the main stage. How do you see it going in the near future? Do you think streaming is the way forward? TikTok and things, because I was speaking to an artist the other day, and they were saying that maybe TikTok is just one of these lockdown things that will kind of disappear when everything opens back up again. But I must disagree. I think that is the way it's going to go, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. I think TikTok or a different version of TikTok is gonna sustain for a while. I think people really underestimate the power of TikTok. It's actually quite scary how influential it is. Like there's different trends on TikTok that are getting applied to like actual real life adverts that you see on television now. So it really influences our sort of culture as well and media. I love TikTok. I think it's fantastic. I think it really gives a platform to really, really funny people and really talented people. And it's a really good system to edit videos. I think it makes it really accessible to people, people who, don't have access to crazy editing software and stuff. It's really good. So I'd say it's like, in terms of like accessibility, I think they've hit the nail on the head. And also with music, there are people who do really, really well on TikTok because it's so easy to, not easy, but it's much more, I'm not sure what the word is, but you can build an audience so quickly and a very engaging audience. And I think with that, you can use it as a platform to promote your art. And I think a lot of people are really taking advantage of that and making it their own. And you can kind of cater your TikTok to whatever kind of artist you want to be. So I think it's really interesting. I'm really bad at TikTok. I haven't nailed it yet in terms of what I want to make on there. So it's kind of like this peripheral platform that I'm like, one day I'll figure out what kind of stuff I want to make, but I also don't want to force it. But in terms of music, I think, and streaming and stuff, it's really interesting because I think songwriters should get paid more in music. I think there's the culture surrounding songwriters is interesting because songwriters work for 5 days a week and with the hope of a song being released. So I think there needs to be some sort of switch up there where songwriters get compensated for their time and their work as well. But in terms of that, like, I'm not sure. I am not sure how it's going to go, but it's very exciting. And I think that's what's exciting about music, is that the way we consume it is always changing, and really rapidly changing as well. But yeah, who knows? Maybe the internet will explode and we'll have to go back to just buying records in shops. And
maybe would you prefer that if that was the case? Would you? Because I love a vinyl. I do. I love a vinyl record. I can't get enough of them. But then at the same time, I just think it's so easy now just to access songs on your phone or whatever it might be.
Yeah, it's so easy to access new music. I think that's what's great about it, is that music is really, really accessible now to loads and loads of people. And also creators as well on Spotify. If you're just a kid in your bedroom making music and you don't have the means to go and record in a big fancy studio, you can literally get GarageBand, make a song and put it out and make some money from it. I think it's great. But yeah, who knows?
What kind of artists influence you then? What kind of songs are you listening to, artists, bands that you maybe take inspiration from as
It's really different. There's a big spectrum, I think. I grew up on sort of folk and Americana songwriters, and my dad was in a band and my mum was a singer, so there was a lot of different influences kind of floating around, and but harmony being the main thing. So I'm one of 5 kids, so we'd kind of sing 5-part harmonies together, and still do now. But now it's just me and my 2 sisters who sing together. And by now, I think it ranges from sort of, I'd say like Joni Mitchell and James Taylor and this band called Nickel Creek I love. And then, so you've got like the kind of folky Americana influences. And then I love sort of big pop rock bands as well. So there's a band called Jellyfish from the 90s that I love, and Queen, and also like Beach Boys, and their harmony minds are crazy. So they're always people I like to go back to for inspiration, and they're like the masters. And then, but I also love sort of barbershop harmony and the Full Freshmans, and then in terms of more modern artists, there's an artist called Noga Errors that I love so much. I think she's fantastic. And who else? Oh, my friends as well, my mates who are just so unbelievably inspirational, not just their songs, but how they approach making music and how they just make it for themselves, and as long as they're happy with it and they feel like it speaks to a part of themselves, I think that always makes really, really good music and accessible music to loads of different people.
Great. Well, it's been brilliant catching up with you today. Really, really nice to hear you talking about so openly about your EP and your songs that you've released. Just finally, before I let you go, I always like to ask artists and bands this that I get on the show. What would be the main piece of advice you would give to anybody listening to this now, thinking, I want to break through into the music industry, I want to, go on big tours and perform in front of loads of people? What would be your main piece of advice to help do that?
Make sure you love what you make. That's the most important thing. And because I feel like that's the most sustainable part of music, is if you can keep falling in love with it and be patient with yourself, and putting time into it. I think that's a good bit of advice that is sustainable, I think.
Well, great. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really, really do appreciate it. And we're going to play your song now, How to Be a Woman. I'd love it if you'd introduce it for us.
Yeah, sure. Hi, my name's Greta Isaac, and this is my song, How to Be a Woman, on Red Road.